Good morning, welcome to another video with a guy and his projects. This truck is so close to being very dependable. I actually thought we were there. Now we've gotten this thing spruced up like crazy. I was actually at the point where I was like, I trust this truck now. And then as soon as I got there, I started having a little flashing battery light on the stupid dashboard. So there's two things. One, I'm not a professional. I'm not any kind of professional mechanically. I've got no schooling, no experience professionally, and I could be 100% wrong on this, but the alternator that's in here that the previous owner put in is a remanufactured alternator, and I've never had good luck. Not one single remanufactured item I've put in a vehicle has ever made me happy. They all fail, every single one I've ever had, within an unreasonable, or what I would call an unreasonable amount of time. I'm not saying they're all crappy, I'm just saying I've had bad luck with them, so I don't buy anything remanufactured. That was the first thing I saw when that battery light came on, is that there's a remanufactured in here. I'm just going to replace it. I don't know how long it's been in there. The alternators are super cheap. They're super easy to replace on this truck, as you're about to see. So for me, it's worth just replacing it, and if that fixes the problem, then we're good. With that battery light, it's not consistent, it's inconsistent. It always comes on in the range of about 15 to 1800 RPMs when it does come on, and in my mind, a non-professional mind, that means the alternator's on the way out, or I have a loose connection or something to that effect. I don't think it's a loose connection because it's always in that 15 to 1800 RPM range. So I might be totally wrong. This might be a complete waste of money, but we're doing it because it's cheaper than paying a mechanic, honestly, to replace a part. I don't want to be a parts changer, but sometimes, anyway, moving on. So I also have a brand new battery ready to go in. I bought an AGM. I've been using AGM for several years now in all my vehicles, and I have been extraordinarily happy with them. There's a lot of debate online about deep cycle and whatnot, and who notses and who careses and I don't careses. What I know is that AGMs in my vehicles seem to last way longer. I'm in the greater Phoenix area in Arizona, and it gets hot. Not only does the temperature get hot, but then you got a hot engine with no way to cool it down with cool air, because the freaking air outside is 118 degrees. Your engine bay that your battery sits in is like 5 billion degrees, and your battery it gets hot, right? And a traditional acid-filled battery, water-filled battery, they just don't last more than about 3 years, give or take, for me out here. The AGMs have been lasting closer to 5, so I've been going AGM, and that's what I have to put in here. So I've done too much talking. Let's do it. We're going to start by removing the negative cable from the battery terminal. This is just going to allow us to be a little bit more safer. We're then going to go over to the serpentine belt tensioner and remove tension, pull the belt off the alternator, and that's all you need to pull off. You have 3 bolts on the alternator, one in the back right here. Well, technically 4, because you have the battery cable, and then 2 on the bottom. So at this point, we're going to start from the bottom. This is just my process, the way I decided to attack it. Attack it however you wish and however you will, doesn't matter. You can also do both terminals on the battery. You can pretty much disconnect all this electrical without moving the alternator. I just did so that you could see a little better what I'm doing. We're going to take the bolt off here for the power, and then both of these clips, which I believe Ford put in backwards just to be a pain in the arse. They're kind of a pain in the butt to get off, but you can do it. Just use a screwdriver. There's your alternator. And if you'll see those clips clipping backwards, which is so stupid. Alright, going back to the battery, because we're replacing both battery and alternator, you're going to take the hold down clamp off and then the positive terminal. Could you have done this before you got the alternator? Yes. Why didn't I? Because I didn't have a plan in mind. Out with the old battery. Here's your 2 batteries. They were actually similarly sized. I am loving this Legend Premium. I actually took this video 6 months ago, and I kind of lost the footage on the computer and just found it, so now we're editing it. Your 2 alternators, make sure they're the same. They look the same, smell the same, taste the same.
mount the same and have the same electrical hookups. You're also going to want to count the grooves in the pulley to make sure they are going to fit your belt, especially with some of these older vehicles. There's multiple versions. Put the alternator in, connect the electrical. This is just backwards and easier than removal. Undo the bolt for the battery, power, and put it back on. Tighten it down until it is about that tight. I don't have a torque spec for you, but put your rubber insulating cover back on to keep things from touching things they shouldn't. Line the alternator back up in place. I started with the rear bolt, and then I went with the two bottom ones. Again, I don't have a torque spec for you. Just get them until they're tight, but not so tight that you strip them out. There's not a lot of load on the alternator from the belt. I mean, yes, there's definitely tension from the belt, but it's not going to rip it out of its bolt holes. So tighten everything down until they are tight. Put your clips back in place as they will. Give it a little tug, make sure it is. You're going to go grab your tensioner on the belt. I have a serpentine belt removal tool. I'll link down below if I remember to Amazon because it is super handy. Alternatively, you can use a 1/2-inch socket, but it's not quite as easy. All right, we're done with the alternator, and in goes the new battery. We're going to put the hold down, we're going to bolt in the hold down first. Notice that your terminals when you buy a new battery are not always the same. Sometimes they're thinner, sometimes they're thicker, and sometimes they're backwards. This one lines up perfectly and everything is fantastic and great. Put your felt things down if you so desire. A little bit of this anti-corrosion slash juice, electrical connectivity juice to prevent any arcing. I don't always do that, but figured I'd do it in this video so you don't chew me out for not doing it in the comments. Don't drop your sockets because, you know, they can get lost and hard to find. And then just tighten everything down. And you definitely want all things electrically related tight. If they're loose, they begin to arc, and then they cause problems. And we don't like problems. So negative battery's on, terminal battery, negative battery cable's on, positive is on. Start your truck up and listen to her go. Check your belt, make sure it's not wiggling back and forth, make sure everything's lined up. And guys, you just saved yourself a crap ton of money. Thanks for watching.
Alright guys, easy as that to replace your alternator on this 2001 Ford F250 V10. I know this is the easiest alternator I have ever replaced in my entire life. I think I said that when we did my big brother's F150, and I think this is even easier than that. No, there is a video on that too if you need to or want to check it out. Check out the playlist F150s. Speaking of playlists, I have a whole playlist dedicated to things I've done on this truck. Not all the things I've done have videos, like these fancy headlights. Some things, when I'm super busy and I want to get it done, I don't do a video because it takes forever. Kudos to all you guys out there that are making videos and spending hours upon hours editing, setting up the camera, moving the camera, getting your shot, getting this. It takes forever, and I don't even do that great of a job. So those of you that do, hats off. Easy replacement. If you want to see more, check out the playlist on this truck. Hit that subscribe button down below. Leave a thumbs up. And on another note, before you go, that battery I replaced is 3 years old, which is about the life expectancy I've experienced out here in Arizona for a traditional style battery. But it's not bad. I'm thinking about putting a second battery in here. I'm guessing where the evap canister is. I can't remove the evap canister because I have emissions. Yay. But is it possible to relocate it, and where do you relocate it to? Hit me up in the comments if you know anything about that, because I'm thinking there's enough room right there to put that second battery. I'll keep that not yet dead battery, put it there. Is there a reason for me to do that? Not really. I don't really have a whole lot of accessories. Eventually, if we keep this truck, I want to replace this bumper and get a winch. And that would be a potential use for the battery, as well as some lights. You got to have some extra lights, man. But overall, do I need it? Not necessarily, but I have a battery, so I might just play around with that idea. Hook me up in the comments with what you know, and if you want to see that. So we'll see you on the next video. Adios.